The London Olympics are less than a year away. And after stunning track and field performances at the World Championships,
Carmelita Jeter is the world champion. It's James edging defending champion LaShawn Barrett. Final hurdle, and then Lashinda Demus, world champion. It'll be the U.S. to win it.
the world stars alight in Zurich for one of the final 2 stops of the Diamond League. NBC Sports presents the 2011 Samsung Diamond League. Less than a week ago, many of these same athletes were competing at the World Championships in South Korea. Well, they're about to get after it today, battling for the Diamond League title at the Weltklasse in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm Paul Sunderland, joined by Otto Bolden, Lewis Johnson, and Dwight Stones. And at stake are these beautiful trophies and $40,000. Let's get right to the action with the women's 400-meter hurdles, our first event on the program. And Otto, this field includes all 3 medalists, including Lashinda Demus, now the reigning world champion.
And Paul, it was a week ago in Daegu, South Korea, in the finals of the 400-meter hurdles for women, as Lashinda Demus took the blocks, came off of the turn with a lead, and despite a great challenge on the outside by Melaine Walker, Lashinda Demus set a new American record and became world champion.
And there is Lashinda Demus. Achieved a huge milestone and did it by beating Jamaica's Melaine Walker.
Another Jamaican, Kelis Spencer, who went into Daegu as the favorite, having the world's fastest time going into the World Championships.
And Kelis Spencer was the favorite because she had so far dominated the Diamond League, and with 16 points is atop the standings. You saw the start list, the quality in the middle of the track: Demus, Melaine Walker, Natalia Antioch, who was the bronze medalist at the World Championships, and Kelis Spencer will be in lane 6.
So the top 4 finishers from the World Championships having a rematch here in Zurich.
Double points in the Diamond League finals: 8 for first, 4 for second, 2 for third. Susanna Heshnova from the Czech Republic, the only athlete that can threaten Kelis Spencer. Fair start. Women's 400-meter hurdles, first event on the program.
And it's Kelis Spencer out in lane 6, third from the left of your screen, that has gone out very well, but also Melaine Walker in the back moving well.
Watch the athletes as they close in on the stagger. Over the hurdles first, we'll show you the leader. Very tight between Antioch, Melaine Walker, and Lashinda Demus. And as you mentioned, Kelis Spencer out very well.
Through 200, and Kelis Spencer leads with Melaine Walker, and Lashinda Demus now trying to make a move on the inside.
Kelis Spencer on the outside. She'll come to that barrier with a slight lead over Melaine Walker and Lashinda Demus. Kelis Spencer, the taller of the 3. It's 3 abreast, but here comes Kelis Spencer. Went into the World Championships as the favorite, had a slight injury, and she pulls away and wins the 400-meter hurdles. Melaine Walker is second, and the world champion, Lashinda Demus, is third.
So the training partners from the MVP group in Kingston embrace as Spencer claims the Diamond League title. But over 9, this was a very, very even race between the top 3. There they are going over 9, very even, but the 2 Jamaicans seem to have something more over 10 as they separated from the world champion, as Spencer hangs on and claims the Diamond League title as well as the Zurich Diamond League win.
So the Jamaican, Kelis Spencer, wins the Diamond League overall title, the $40,000 bonus. for the second straight season, and maybe Lashinda Demas had done all of the running she needed to do at the World Championships. But congratulations once again to Khalees Spencer of Jamaica. The 110-meter hurdles are next. In Korea, a favorites DQ gave the title to American Jason Richardson. NBC's coverage of the Samsung Diamond League is brought to you by Shape-Ups LIV by Skechers. Experience natural stride technology as you walk, jog, or run. Letzigrund Stadium, Zurich, Switzerland, the first half of the Diamond League Finals. Paul Sunderland back with Otto Bolden, the 110-meter hurdles, and Jason Richardson, the new world champion, but not without some controversy.
And Paul, this was one of the most anticipated matchups of the World Championships. The three fastest hurdlers ever. And what a race it was. Dairon Robles of Cuba impeding Lu Shang of China over hurdles 9 and 10. And the officials decided that he had impeded Lu enough to disqualify him, which handed the title to the second place Jason Richardson of the United States.
And now one more run for the world record holder from Cuba, Dairon Robles. David Oliver, who has the fastest time in the world so far this year, but that was back on June 4th. And Jason Richardson in the field as well. There is Oliver, really been struggling since his early season prowess.
After a dream season in 2010, which saw him go undefeated, he was off the podium at the World Championships in fourth.
Andy Turner, the bronze medalist in Daegu, also in the field, along with American Aries Merritt. But the notables in the middle of the track, Oliver, Robles, and Jason Richardson, all very much vying for the Diamond League title and that $40,000 bonus. Robles feeling some extra pressure after what happened in Daegu?
Paul, he was bitterly disappointed at being disqualified. It would have been his first ever world title. And all the hurdlers that I spoke to did not feel as though the contact justified Robles being disqualified.
So you disagree with the decision?
I'm glad I didn't have to make it. It was certainly a call that was tough to make.
Fair start. Robles in 6, Richardson in 5, and on the outside, Joel Brown in lane 9 already in trouble, but Dairon Robles is not. But here comes Jason Richardson to his inside. Dairon Robles pulling away at the finish line to win it.
And Paul, that's the fastest time he has run for 2011. 13.02 new seasonal best. And he gets a small bit of revenge for Daegu at the World Championships. You'll see Robles fourth from the left in this race. He always gets a good start, leads to the first hurdle, and then takes control of this race. Look at the challenge to his inside by the new world champion, Jason Richardson, who has been close to him all season. But tonight, Robles is able to hang on in a new seasonal best. And Paul, in Daegu, Robles drifted to his right and then made contact with Lu. Tonight, he drifts to the left, but no contact is made.
And I'm not sure if a reigning Olympic champion ever needs to look for redemption, but Dairon Robles of Cuba has won this one, and it's got to be sweet. He's Diamond League champion. Coming up next, LaShawn Merritt. Silver in the 400 meters, as well as anchoring the 4x400 USA relay team to a gold medal. The men's 400 meters is coming up next. A nearly perfect evening in Zurich as the Diamond League finals continue, and now to Dwight Stones for the men's shot put, held on Wednesday.
And Paul, the event was held at the Zurich main train station. And this is Reese Hoffa. He was the 2007 world champion. Second throw of the competition. He takes the lead with this throw. 70 feet 2 1/4. He was 5th in Daegu. Ryan Whiting from the U.S., who was 7th in Daegu. This his 6th and final throw, and with this effort, he goes from 7th to 1st with 70 feet 7 1/4. Put a lot of pressure on this man, Canadian Dylan Armstrong, who has had the world lead all year at 72 10 1/2. He was passed in the final round at the World Championships, ended up with the silver medal. Armstrong, 6'4", 300 pounds, and he gets on his 6th throw out to 70 feet 11 3/4 and comes back for the victory and the 4 points, which makes it so he has an insurmountable lead going into next week's Diamond League final in this event. Armstrong has had a career season in 2011 and adds the Zurich title here.
And now to an event the United States has absolutely dominated, the 400 meters, and LaShawn Merritt did his part to continue that, Otto, winning the gold medal in Beijing, but there's a new young threat who has really arrived.
Yep, LaShawn Merritt lost his world title to the youngest ever champion. Here he is, Karani James, youngest ever champion in this event at the Worlds or the Olympic Games. Just turned 19. He was 18 at the World Championships, and a new national record for Grenada.
And there is Jermaine Gonzalez, the Jamaican champion and current Diamond League leader with 9 points overall. He was 4th in Daegu. The rest of the start list, notably Angelo Taylor of the United States in lane 7, 2 times an Olympic champion in the 400-meter hurdles. Also Rondell Bartholomew, also from the very proud nation of Grenada. There are the Diamond League standings. Remember, double points here at the finals. 8 for first, 4 for second, 2 for third. So still very much a contest.
So, Paul, we have the last 2 world champions in this event, Karani James and LaShawn Merritt, the current and former world champions.
There's the gun, fair start. Karani James, LaShawn Merritt, Jermaine Gonzalez after it once again. Rondell Bartholomew also from Grenada in lane 3. And quickly out is Angelo Taylor.
Angelo Taylor really went out hard. You see a much conservative approach by the 3 guys on your screen, Gonzalez, Karani James, and LaShawn Merritt.
Gonzalez with the long hair and the bright orange tank top, but being passed right now by the world champion. Now 19 years and 1 day of age, Karani James. But here comes Merritt, even with about 70 meters to go. Karani James, Merritt coming up on the inside. Karani James, just like at the World Championships, puts it in another gear and blows away at the finish line.
And that's a new personal best for the young world champion. National record again for Grenada. And what a season he is having, Paul. Undefeated outdoors at 400 meters for the now 19-year-old star from Grenada. We got a rematch of the World Championships final, and it played out very similarly to the end. At 300 meters to go, Merritt and James were very even. But James's coach, Harvey Glantz, at the University of Alabama, has said all year, my young star, James, does not tie up. You got to look at it here, because while everyone else was tying up, he seemed to have more as he headed to the tape and takes his first Zurich win in a new personal best time and a new national record for Grenada.
And Karani James no longer at the University of Alabama. He has turned pro, and he just went from 3rd to 1st in the Diamond League standings. And with this win and a new national record, will also take home $40,000 for his troubles. In Korea, a trio of jumpers won gold for the United States. Dwight Phillips in the men's long jump for the 4th time. Well, Brittany Reese won the women's long jump, defending her world championship. And for the first time in 20 years, an American man, Jesse Williams, won the high jump. More field coverage next. Zurich, Switzerland, home to the first half of the 2011 Diamond League Finals, the Weltklasse Letzigrund Stadium. And now to Dwight Stones and the women's long jump.
And Paul, this is two-time world champion now, Brittany Reese of the U.S. She has dominated the long jump since getting 5th in the Olympics in Beijing. Has the world's leading jump in 2011 at 23.7 1/4, a mark she achieved at the U.S. Championships in late June. This was her first jump of the competition. And you can tell how tired all of the long jumpers are with the speed on the runway. She calls her technique a work in progress. But she gets it done, and right here, this is the definition of getting all of the board. No mark in the plasticine. That is a fair jump. And she stretches out on the first attempt to just 21.4 1/4, but that was the early leader. Fast forward to the third round, and Reese in 5th place. She is the Diamond League leader, but in this competition, it was possible for her to be beaten with the right combination of athletes jumping. And on her third jump, she puts it together closer to the 7-meter mark. 22 feet 3/4 of an inch. That catapults her from 5th place to 1st place. Very raw on the runway, but a great athlete. 6'2" high jumper. She played basketball in high school, and if she gets that landing together, she's really going to go far. Reese into the lead, but plenty of jumping left at this point. 6th round, and this is Nastasia Ivanova of Belarus. She was 4th at the World Championships, but with some controversy. On her final jump, she grazed the sand with her ponytail, and that took just enough off of her distance that put her in 4th place, but it looked like a leading jump there. This is her final attempt, and very close to the board, and also her distance looking very close to maybe surpassing Reese. Very good speed on the runway, 5'10" as opposed to Reese, who's 5'7". But though it looks like she gets all of the board, she just nicks the plasticine and negates this effort. So she loses by 2 inches, and Reese takes the Diamond League title for the 2nd year in a row. And Brittany Reese just continues her winning ways. Ivanova 2nd, Radovica of Latvia 3rd.
And while we have a moment, tomorrow, 20 of the world's toughest teams come together for the Rugby World Cup. Don't miss all the action when Team USA takes on Ireland tomorrow, 1 Eastern, right here on NBC. Now back to the track, the women's 800 meters with Lewis Johnson. And quite an event this was, Lewis, in Daegu just a short while ago, and should be the same tonight.
And there is Alicia Montano, won her 3rd U.S. championship this season and got to the finals of the Worlds and finished in 4th just off the podium. But there is the new star, Maria Savinova of Russia, the world champion. Ran a smart tactical race, closed with a fury, overtaking this woman, Caster Semenya of South Africa, who was the world champion at 8'18" back in 2009. Gender controversy broke out. That was all cleared up in July of 2010. That's where we stand today as we look at some of the other competitors, Paul, and that was really a very interesting final. That's the best way I can characterize it. I thought Semenya of South Africa had a great chance to win, but for some reason, her stretch run, to me, was questionable.
There's the gun. The race is underway. Also of note, Morgan Uceny, who was knocked to the track in the women's 1,500 meters when she was in very good position. And also in the field, Kenya Sinclair from Jamaica, the current overall Diamond League leader, along with Jen Meadows of Great Britain. Meadows, the blonde, currently in 3rd place. That is the pacemaker, Lilia Lubanova from the Ukraine, out in front.
You know, the women's 800 final was contested on the last day of the World Championship, so these ladies have had 4 days to travel, somehow acclimate. We're talking 5,500 miles, maybe 12 to 15 hours of flying time. So I imagine the legs are like rubber, but somehow they're on the track. And an honest pace so far.
You did the same trip. How are you feeling?
Not too good.
Oh, and look at this. Another runner down. This is Alima Hashloff, and Morgan Uceny almost got caught up in that as well.
Somehow Uceny survives that. 56.83. That is a very fast time set by the Rabbit. You can see Montano there in 2nd. And there's the world champion, Savinova. She is way back in the pack now. Jenny Meadows of Great Britain there right behind Montano as they approach 300 meters to go.
And there, Caster Semenya, the broad shoulders with the orange singlet on the outside. This is the pacemaker out front. This is Alicia Montano and Jen Meadows of Great Britain. There goes the pacemaker, and here comes Meadows from Great Britain. Very, very disappointed that she didn't make the finals. And Maria Savinova from Russia, the world champion, on the way.
She had that great stretch run at the World Championship final to run down Semenya, and now she's going to need an effort like that, but I'm not so sure. Jen Meadows is trying to hold on. Look at Montano with the flower, and here comes Savinova, and she now has matched Montano, and she's going to pass her. And Savinova, look at this. Savinova wins it in a stretch run that matches what we saw at the Worlds.
Maria Savinova from Russia, the world champion, and a tremendous, tremendous comeback with 300 meters to go. Savinova was easily 20 meters off the lead, Lewis.
Yeah, Paul, but it almost didn't happen. Look here as Hashlaf of Morocco goes down. Yusini in the green just jumps over her, trying to avoid another disaster that she experienced at the Worlds. And on the left of your screen, just going out of the picture, that was Savinova, who was able to dodge that bullet, come back into the picture. Unfortunately, Hashlaf did not finish the race. But in the close, just like the Worlds, it was Savinova, after the long travel, just finishing her World Championship final 4 days ago. She has this fantastic stretch run to win the Diamond League final.
What a whirlwind for Russia's Maria Savinova. World Championship, now another win in Zurich over American Alicia Montano and Jenny Meadows of Great Britain, who does take the overall Diamond League title. Up next, the men's 100 meters. There's fast, and then there are those that run the 100 meters. And the world has a new champion, Jamaican Johan Blake, but it was one of the most stunning moments, probably, Otto, in the history of track and field.
It was certainly the most talked about event of the 2011 World Championships in Korea, as all eyes focused on Usain Bolt, the reigning Olympic champion and defending 100-meter world champion, who proceeded to then false start out of the meet, committing the false start seen and heard around the world. This meant that we would have a new 100-meter world champion. So the 7 remaining entrants in the final settled back into the blocks. And then it was Bolt's training partner, Johan Blake of Jamaica, who made the most of the absence of the defending world champion and claimed his first 100-meter world title.
And there is Johan Blake, who ran 9.92 into a strong headwind, just edging out Walter Dix of the United States, who also won silver in the 200 meters at the World Championships. And re-emerging once again is someone the world knows very well from Jamaica, Asafa Powell.
And he still has the fastest time in this event this year, but skipped the World Championships, a decision very criticized in Jamaica, so he could finish his Diamond League season. And this is the fastest time in the world this year in Lausanne in June. Look at Asafa Powell separate from the field, 9.78, and that remains the world's fastest time in the 100 meters this year.
But yet another major championship disappointment for Asafa Powell. Take a look at the lane assignments. Also Nesta Carter and Michael Frater in the field. Both of them contributed to Jamaica's 4x100 world record.
And in lane 3, Johan Blake, the new world champion, who missed a chance to measure himself against the defending champ Usain Bolt, will get a chance in this race to measure himself against the world's fastest man in 2011, Asafa Powell.
Also in the field in lane 6, Kim Collins of St. Kitts and Nevis, who was 3rd in the 100 meters. You can see that kinesio tape on the left inside thigh of Asafa Powell, who has had a magnificent career except at major championships. Johan Blake in 3, Dix in 4, Powell in 5, Kim Collins in 6. There's the gun, and Asafa Powell out very quickly. But here comes Johan Blake. Johan Blake in lane 3 has overtaken Asafa Powell. And Johan Blake, look at that, Otto, 9.82 seconds.
One of the fastest times ever run without a following wind. A new personal best for the world champion. And he had a lot of work to do. He did not get a great start. The best start in the field was Asafa Powell. Look at Asafa Powell get out of those blocks. Hard to miss him in those bright yellow shoes. The world champion was at a deficit, but man, did he make up some ground in the middle of this race, and then no one had an answer for what he did in the latter half of this race as he dispatches Asafa Powell and the rest of this Zurich Diamond League field, continuing his winning ways.
So Blake makes it 2 straight, this time over countryman Asafa Powell, who does take the overall Diamond League crown. Coming up next, the 1500 with world champion Esbel Kiprop. Zurich, Switzerland, known as having the highest quality of life on the planet. And speaking of quality, let's go to Dwight Stones in the men's long jump that was kind of lacking thereof, if you will.
It was lacking a little quality, but we did get a chance to see some younger long jumpers. This is Goni Makusha of Zimbabwe, his first jump of the competition. He won a rare 100 long jump double at the NCAA championships this past year for Florida State. This is a feat done only by DeHart Hubbard, Carl Lewis, and Jesse Owens. And the first jump of the competition, he gets out right at the 8-meter mark, 26 2 3/4. And that was a mark they chased throughout the competition. This is now 4-time world champion Dwight Phillips. He'll be 34 next month. He was terrible all of 2011 because of some injury problems, but put it together in Daegu with the best mark of the year by almost a foot. And on the 6th jump of the competition, he's just over by about 1.5 inches, and that's no good. He ends up 4th. This is Marcos Chiva, just 22 years old, from Portugal. He was 10th at the recent World Championships, but has jumped 27.4.5 in 2011. This is his only appearance on the Diamond League stage. Gets a chance to jump against the likes of Dwight Phillips. And a big distance there, but he was also over the board. Finished 3rd overall here in Zurich. Notice the black ribbon on the left chest of young Alexander Menkov of Russia. That's to commemorate the tragic deaths of the Russian hockey team this last week. 6th and final jump, and he chopped like crazy. Just couldn't get his foot on the board. He ended up finishing 2nd overall. So Goni Makusha wins it, but Mitchell Watt of Australia, who finished 7th here, wins the Diamond League title for the season.
And now back to the track, the men's 1500 meters. Lewis Johnson and a quality field, almost as good as in Daegu.
Absolutely, and there's Silas Kiplagat, who arrived at the World Championships with 2 of the fastest times in the world, left there with a silver medal behind his countryman, Esbel Kiprop, who is the reigning African champion, Beijing Olympic champion, and now world champion from Daegu.
And you notice Nick Simmons on the outside, who was 5th in the 800 meters and is serving as a pacemaker in this event. Maybe just wants to get in some work. Look at the start list, if you will, all the competitors in the men's 1500 meters. And Hiron Kitani, very important. Nixon Chepsiba as well, both from Kenya, because this is still a contest for the overall Diamond League title. Kiprop leads it with 11 points. Keitani and Kiplagat are tied in 2nd. And if you do the math, Esbel Kiprop, if he finishes 2nd or better, wins the overall Diamond League and the $40,000. 1500 meters underway. Also in the field, Abubakar Kaki, who finished 2nd in the 800 meters in Daegu, and he goes right to the front.
There he is. Kaki, who has got great speed, is now toward the front, and there is Nick Simmons in the green singlet, who's getting up to the lead, looking back for David Krummenacher, who now finally gets up to the lead. They will handle the pacemaking duties, and you mentioned Simmons running as a rabbit. How odd is that? The 4-time U.S. champion who finished 5th at the World Championships is a rabbit.
It was hard to explain when we saw him out there. There's Chepsiba, Keitani there as well, Abubakar Kaki, Augustine Chogi, Mekanen Gebremedine from Ethiopia trying to break into that Kenyan dominance.
And amazing to think that Kenya had never won the gold in the men's 1,500 meters at the World Championship. And look, there is Kaki. Abubakar Kaki just dropped out of the race. As I was saying, Kenya never won gold, but Kiprop wins the gold. Kiplagat silver. And so now this post-World Championship running continues here at the Diamond League meet in Zurich.
And Asbel Kiprop, you can notice him right away. 6'2", about 145 pounds. Those long sticks for legs, and he is way back in the pack right now. Remember, he has to finish second or better to win the overall Diamond League. Krummenacher and Simmons, the two pacemakers up front, followed by Augustine Chogi, Haran Kitani, and Nixon Chepsiba, all from Kenya.
David Krummenacher has done an excellent job over the last several years as one of the premier rabbits on the European circuit. I know what that feels like because I rabbited at Letzigrund Stadium many times, and that is one of the most electric atmospheres you'll ever find. If you notice on the right, on the back of the screen, you'll see people beating on the signs as you move around the track. It is absolutely awesome.
Still Chogi, Kaitani, Chepsiba, and Asbel Kiprop still in the back of the pack. Krummenacher, the first pacemaker, steps off to the side of the track.
Excellent job. 1:52.19. That's awfully fast at 800 meters, but that's exactly what the organizers want. They want to drag this field to a quick time, and now it's up to Nick Simmons, who will try to get him to 1,200 meters, somewhere around 2:48, 2:49, 2:50, which again is very fast.
There's the lead group once again. Kitani, Chogi, Chepsiba. And here comes Asbel Kiprop on the outside, now moving up into fourth place.
Kiprop has had an amazing year. He won the Diamond League Mile in Oslo. That was way back early in the year and has been right at the top of the podium at so many different events. Look at those long legs of Asbel Kiprop coming up to take the bell.
Final lap, Nick Simmons from the United States has done his job and done it very well as the rabbit. Chepsiba, Kiprop on the outside, Chogi, Kaitani all still there. Daniel Coleman back in fifth place.
And so now you begin to wonder, with 300 meters to go, having just completed the World Championships on the other side of the world, what kind of kick do these guys have to close out this race?
Chepsiba now in the lead. Chogi drops back to third. Asbel Kiprop now in fourth. Haran Kitani of Kenya in the black singlet and shorts there. Here comes Kiprop. Kiprop coming around the outside. Remember, he's got to finish second or first to win the overall Diamond League. Chepsiba pulling away. Kaitani trying to catch him. Here comes Asbel Kiprop, the world champion. Chepsiba is pulling away. Asbel Kiprop is drifting off. Beautiful run now by Nixon Chepsiba. Silas Kiplagat in for second. Kaitani comes in third. And Asbel Kiprop, Lewis, who's been schizophrenic for a couple of seasons, drops all the way off the pace. That cost him $40,000.
And for Nixon Chepsiba, who did not make the World Championship team for Kenya, well, you could say he was laying in wait, fresh for Zurich. But you have to wonder about that stretch run for Asbel Kiprop. That was strange.
Lewis, that was also very expensive as Nixon Chepsiba wins it and the overall Diamond League crown. The women's 100-meter hurdles are coming up next, featuring all three medalists from the World Championships. Back inside Letzigrund Stadium, getting ready for the start of the 100-meter hurdles, and who else to start with than Sally Pearson, the new world champion.
And prior to her winning that title, Australia had never won at the World Championships in this event. She becomes the fourth fastest performer ever, and she set a new championship record at the Worlds of 12.28.
Mentioned all three medalists were in Zurich. The next up, Danielle Carruthers, second to Pearson at the World Championships.
And after making her first U.S. outdoor team, she got her first global medal with that silver.
And to her outside, Dawn Harper, also the United States, the reigning Olympic champion, third in Daegu.
And she started very well this year and had some injuries which forced her back home, but finished with the bronze.
Also to watch for Kelly Wells in lane 2, the U.S. champion, and also Nikita Holder out of Canada, someone with a lot of potential. We were talking about this earlier, Otto. I asked you if Sally Pearson had the best start in all of track.
I think she has the best start, male or female, of all the sprinters. But it's not just about her start. It's about what she does after. Once she gets that advantage from the start, she's so unflappable, she very rarely hands that advantage back.
Pearson in 4, Carruthers in 5, Harper in 6, Kelly Wells in lane 2.
And Wells in 2 made the final, the U.S. champion, but then was unable to complete the race, hit a hurdle, and fell at the World Championships.
Pearson in green, lane 4, out quickly again. Big lead at the first hurdle, and Sally Pearson once again with a huge lead over this world-class field. And the world's best is going to win it easily in Zurich.
When you consider, Paul, that they were one of the last events in the program, it is quite amazing that she was even able to come here and run that fast a time. It's well off of her new personal best of 12.28, but you saw the advantage that she had over the rest of this field. Those are the best hurdlers in the world behind her. But Sally Pearson, we talked about her start. It's not just about what she does at the start. Her technique is so flawless that with every step, she is continuing to extend her lead. Dawn Harper gets closest, but this is not close. Sally Pearson in a romp in Zurich.
It was a race for second after the second or third barrier, and Pearson wins it once again, followed by Harper, and it was Felicia George of Canada getting in for a surprising third. Now to Dwight Stones with an event he knows just a little something about.
Well, Paul, Zurich is a great place for the high jump. The American record was set here 20 years ago. This is Jesse Williams, the first American in 20 years to win any medal in the high jump at the World Championships. He just happened to win the gold medal. Managed his season incredibly well in 2011. Has the leading jump in the world this year at 7.9 1/4. And this is his first attempt at 7.4 1/2. And he brushed it on the way up and on the way down. Of course, everyone very tired after those championships in South Korea. This is late in the season. He spent the week in Amsterdam getting ready for this Diamond League final. And he's over on an early height. Bar moved up to 7.6 1/2. This is Trevor Barry of the Bahamas, third at the World Championships. No misses, as you can see on his chart. The bar now at 7.6 1/2. His first attempt here. This is his first Diamond League competition, and a very nice, clean jump for Barry on the first attempt. Good speed in the turn. You could see him chop his step, and he actually got his height late. He peaked after the bar, so it's a good thing he chopped his step a little bit, brushed it on the way up with his back. So a lot of pressure on Williams here. His third attempt at 7.6 1/2. Because Andrei Silnov is already out of the competition, Williams wraps up the Diamond League Championship, and he would like to keep pace and keep his good string going in 2011, but it's just too much to ask. Williams ends up finishing fourth with a best height of 7.5 3/4, but a great 2011. He will undoubtedly be ranked the #1 jumper in the world. He has been the only American ranked in the top 5 in the world the last several years. This is young Dimitrios Chandrakoukis, and let me tell you, this is a very big surprise out of this young 23-year-old Greek. Really struggling at these higher heights. He passed after a miss, and on his third and final attempt, he cleanly matches his lifetime best, 7.7 1/4, and wins a very big competition here in Zurich over Trevor Barry, and then Ivan Ukov of Russia, who was slated for a medal in Daegu, gets third here.
Coming up next, the 200 meters featuring 2 American women who came to win.
I came to win, to fight, to conquer, to thrive. I came to win, to survive, to prosper, to rise, to fly.
Time now for the final event in Zurich, the women's 200 meters, featuring 6 finalists from the last World Championships, including the new 100-meter world champion from the United States, Carmelita Jeter.
And Paul, in 2007 and 2009 at the World Championships, Carmelita Jeter finished in third. In Daegu in the 100-meter final, she found a way to win. You see how close it was in the middle, but no one had an answer for Carmelita Jeter. And we talked about Karani James and Johan Blake becoming youngest ever champions. Carmelita becomes the oldest ever women's 100-meter world champion.
Carmelita Jeter, also a silver medal in the 200 meters, edging out Allison Felix, who tried for the much-publicized double, and that certainly did not go according to plan.
Well, she finished with silver and bronze. That would be good for anyone else, but when you're a three-time world champion like Allison is, it was seen as a disappointment. This is Bianca Knight, who led off the U.S. relay team that returned to its winning ways by winning the 4x100-meter world championship.
And now for the lane assignments, and look at the Jamaican Sharon Simpson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, a very, very good starter, and Kiran Stewart. Bianca Knight, by the way, currently leads the 200-meter overall standings. And Allison Felix, gold in the 4x400, also in the 4x100, so now with 8 world championship gold medals. And Otto, she was quoted after the world championships that the 200 and 400 double is still a possibility. Felix in 4, Shalonda Solomon, #1 time in the world, so we should talk about right there in the white and blue to the right of Allison Felix. Carmelita Jeter in lane 6. There's the gun. Carmelita Jeter out very quickly, so is Shalonda Solomon. Allison Felix runs the turn beautifully. Coming off the turn, Carmelita Jeter right there with Allison Felix. Jeter now taking the lead. Also, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price in lane 2 running well. But Carmelita Jeter is going to win this 200 over Allison Felix.
And Paul, a couple of years ago, this would have been unheard of. But Carmelita Jeter will end the 2011 season with a winning record against Allison Felix. She ran a great turn. And once she got that lead on that turn, she has such good form and an ability to finish so well that she didn't hand that advantage back. She separated early. Coming off the turn, she has about a half of a meter on Allison Felix and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price on the inside. But there simply was no giving back of that lead. So Carmelita Jeter hangs on for the win in Zurich, winning over Allison Felix and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price of Jamaica.
And Carmelita Jeter not only wins the race, but also skyrockets to first. Bianca Knight did not score any points. She finished in 6th place. So Carmelita Jeter wins the overall Diamond League crown and notches another victory over Allison Felix.
I'm pleased with my race tonight. I got the W. That was the most important thing. I'm still running more 200s, so I'm trying to learn how to really run it, how to feel comfortable, and every race I'm learning more and more.
And as we look at our Zurich champions, Otto, your thoughts?
Well, Karani James, Johan Blake, and Sally Pearson won at the World Championships and confirmed their class with emphatic victories here in Zurich.
And speaking of Zurich, that'll do it for us, but still one more step to go for the world's best athletes. Next week, on to Brussels. And want to remind you, Sunday night is football night. Don't miss America's Game of the Week as the Cowboys head to New York to take on the Jets. Coverage begins with Football Night in America at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific only on NBC. And up next, two-time Olympic gold medalist Shaun White rips up Salt Lake City at the Dew Tour Toyota Challenge. For Otto Bolden, Lewis Johnson, and Dwight Stones, I'm Paul Sunderland. We'll see you next time.